about time.
And we're back! All flash!
No substance.
So, 'tis the season.
Yes.
'Tis the season to be merry and bloody.
And bloody.
Here are the top 5 Christmas horror films. Now, we got Violent Night that is tearing it up, obviously, at the box office.
Yes.
Now, it's somewhat, I mean, it's more action, obviously, than horror, but you know
Right.
what? There is death, and there is blood, it is gory, so why not do Christmas horror? Terrence, go first!
All right, so my number five.
Number 5!
My fives are gonna be. My 5 movies are kind of. It's not gonna be the norm. So for me, some other movies are.
You gonna pick Edward Scissorhands.
My Christmas horror films are more about what I find interesting to watch for Christmas. All right, Christmas movies and Christmas horror for me are completely.
Now remember, this is a Christmas horror,
Right.
Not necessarily movies, but it's horror.
Yeah, exactly. So
Number 5!
All right, obviously I went with Jack Frost. Not the Michael Keaton one. Look,
That movie's awful.
it is awful, but it's awful in a good way.
If Gingerbread don't make your list, your Gingerbread Man don't make your list.
Just wait.
If Busey is not on your freaking top 5.
Just wait. So look, Jack Frost, because I had to see both because I was like, okay, that's cool. Michael Keaton's movie came out and it was kind of like, oh, it was fun. It was like, oh, the kid gets to have his dad back in the form of a snowman. But what if that snowman was evil? And that's what's great about this film. And it's like, oh, some dead guy possesses a snowman.
You get a blowtorch. It's over. It's freaking over.
Don't be pointing out plot holes. Anyway, so the film is interesting because it took something that was already wholesome and then made it like, oh, we're going to just kind of turn this up a notch and then just make it evil. It is not the best movie. It's not the best acted movie. It's not the best special effects. But if you go into this movie, it's kind of like, hey, this is ridiculous. I want to watch it. You will enjoy it. Drinking and maybe take some drugs too, but don't be sober watching this movie. Number 4. Continuing on this train of ridiculous movies, Ginger Dead Man. That's awful.
Why are you picking these shitty movies?
Because
Those are shitty movies.
Yes, because they're well, look. In the moment.
Are you talking guilty pleasures here?
Obviously guilty pleasure. In the moment when you see them, you pick these movies out where you're like, I mean, who wants to watch The Dentist because they thought The Dentist was a good movie? It's because it was themed. We're gonna talk about if it's a good movie or not, but who picked it because they were like, oh, The Dentist is probably gonna be a good movie.
And there's only one dentist in horror, and that's Dr. Giggles.
Yeah.
You already know this.
But what I'm saying is that you picked this movie.
Oh, he's not a dentist. Never mind. You're right.
Dr. Giggles.
He's an actual doctor.
Just use the laughing gas. But anyway, you pick this movie because it's gonna be something interesting to watch. Like, I've seen so many of these small straight to on-demand movies where like the premise was just something to get you interested in it. And this is definitely, look, the ashes of a person are mixed with the gingerbread mix. It doesn't get any better than that.
Look, it's like Child's Play 2.
It is. It literally is. Except he's a cookie.
It's a cookie. That is so bad. That is the worst concept ever.
Oh my god, it's alright. Alright, so that was my number 4. Watch it. Just watch it. You'll enjoy it.
Don't watch
time.
it.
One time you see it, you'll enjoy it.
You'll be dumber after you watch it.
Number 3! Alright, so I've been going back and forth between this one. And I think I'm going to replace this one and then go with the straight, yeah, of course, we're going to put this on the list, and it's going to be Gremlins.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to put the original Gremlins in it because it definitely was a Christmas film. Also, too, it had a lot of horror aspects to it when we go from Mogwai to actual like body horror, when you see like the puffing and the pussing of the change, the attacking of the people. They're kind of like running.
There's a lot of deaths in this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
They kill a lot of people.
It goes from like sweet and innocent Christmas movie to bloody horror movie by the middle of this movie on towards the end. So I don't have to explain why you should see Gremlins, but if you haven't seen Gremlins, please go ahead and do it now before they go ahead and reboot it or do a sequel. All right. Number 2. All right, number 2, which probably should have been my number 3 in retrospect, but I forgot to change the order because there was something else in my number 3, so this was above that. So sorry, blow me up in the comments that this is number 2. I went with The Lodge. Now, this is where I'm going to be serious. The Lodge is a really cool idea of a movie, and it's one of the ones where like you don't want to spoil the end of the movie, but it's more about like psychosis. There's a family that's out at a lodge and that they own out in the middle, and it's a blizzard, it's Christmas, stuff like this, it's a blizzard, so they're kind of trapped and like snowed into this lodge, and the mom is kind of going through some stuff. She used to have like mental issues, but she got married, she's on medication. She accidentally kills the one of the children, and she thinks that she's being haunted by the spirit and from her psychosis and stuff. Like, it's a real trip of a movie, and it has this nice little twist in at
It's so funny how you go from the gingerbread.
I know, right? That's what I was gonna get a little serious. It's this real twist of a movie where like just the following along with her. What is she seeing? Is it real? Is it not real? To where you get to the actual twist ending, and you're just kind of like, oh wow. Well, that's the thing, and I don't want to spoil it if you guys haven't seen it, because it is very enjoyable. Once you actually get to following along, it's actually very good, but when you get to the end, it's so worth it. It's absolutely so worth it. All right. Number one Christmas horror film for me is I think it was 2015 this movie came out, and that was definitely Krampus. And it's like the stories of Krampus as like little fable tales and stuff like that was fine, and kind of one of those things I didn't think they'd ever make into a movie. And then when they actually did make it into a movie, I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed the monster the way they built the monster. I love that. I love the fact that maybe the movie wasn't taking itself so seriously, but yet it still had a fear level based on like, I don't want to go outside. This thing's gonna kill me if I go outside. And it's like, so when being the first people that I can remember doing an actual live action movie of that particular character kind of sets it by itself and kind of says like, hey, here's your gold standard of what a Krampus movie is. So I enjoy this movie. It was one of the first horror movies I took my kids to go see when they were little. And
is this the one that was the intro to horror? Mine was the Monster Squad.
Oh, for the kids? Oh yeah, I think
my son was Monster Squad.
Like as a serious horror film, this was probably the intro to horror for them.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because that was that like 7-8 years ago?
I'm a horrible father.
Yeah, it was 7-8 years ago. My mom took me to go see Night of the Demons when I was like 8.
Yeah, no, I think Aspen's was either Halloween or Elm Street. That was the introduction to horror. All right, number 5.
Number 5.
Okay, now remember, this is horror. Christmas horror.
Yes.
So my number 5
is that horror?
Is And All Through the House. And that is an episode from Tales from the Crypt with Larry Drake, who I just talked about as Dr. Giggles.
Okay.
He plays an escaped mental patient, and he is dressed as Santa Claus, and he's going around with the axe, and he is tearing it up. And there are... You know, this is when Tales from the Crypt was introduced. This was actually back in the late 80s, early 90s. This was one of the highlighted episodes because it had such a great cast. You know, and you have your directors of like Walter Hill, Richard Donner, and all. Well, I want to say Donner did this one because there's a lot of familiar faces from like Lethal Weapon and stuff, and it's in this. But
Superman in this?
Superman is not in this. He was already dead, I think. That's messed up. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, but yeah, this episode was really, really fun, really, really eerie, and you know, it's a slasher. It's basically a slasher, but you gotta check it out if you have not seen it. It's probably on YouTube somewhere. And All Through the House Christmas episode of Tales from the Crypt. Number 4 is Krampus.
Okay.
And the reason why I like Krampus was because it reminded me so much of Pumpkinhead.
Yes.
It reminded me so much of Pumpkinhead.
Huge creature out there just looming.
If you had, like, this was basically if Nightmare Before Christmas was real, and Pumpkinhead was, and then you had Krampus on. Yeah. That's what this movie was. But yeah, it had a pretty decent cast. It was a horror comedy, really, to be honest with you. There was some funny parts in this. But yeah, man, the creature design was great.
That's what I said. It didn't take itself so seriously.
Not at all. But it was fun. The creature design was great. And yeah, that fear factor was in there. And then you factor in the weather.
Yes.
Like the weather was, played a big role in the fear part. But yeah, so Krampus number 4.
Number 3.
Number 3 is, how do you not put Black Christmas in there? Black Christmas 1974 was one of the classics. This is actually predates Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween. The only thing that came before it was freaking Psycho. And but yes, the image of the plastic bag over the face is like on the rocking chair or the chair is like one of the most iconic pictures in horror history. and I don't even remember if you remember this, but like I would always pass it in the freaking horror section at Blockbuster. It always freaked me out because the chicks were all like, and you know, it was just a freaking creepy ass movie. Anyway, but yeah, so if you've not seen it, check out Black Christmas.
And I didn't put it because I knew it was gonna be in your list.
Yes, it is. And here's another one that I knew that you knew that it was going to be on my list. And that's Silent Night, Deadly Night.
That's I didn't put that one in either because.
And you know what? And we were just talking about this during pre-tape, whatever the hell we were doing. And that is that this movie actually was outgrossing Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes.
And you know, one of the things about like when you're watching Elm Street, you know, you see, you know, Freddy, he's already scary, he's already intimidating and all that, right? You don't think that way about Santa Claus.
No.
Right? But you get Santa Claus with a friggin' axe. And yeah, bad things are gonna happen.
Exactly. Especially if you've been naughty.
Exactly. So yeah, get away from the mistletoe with that guy. I'll tell you that right now. But it's a pretty interesting story, and it comes full circle when you were watching it. It's you know, there's like a full circle type of a feel to it where you're like, wow, you know, I can't believe that was the whole. I'm not gonna say what it is.
Yeah, there you go.
It's pretty crazy. But anyway, Silent Night, Deadly Night.
If you haven't seen this movie, that's 40 years old.
Exactly. Way better than the second one. Second one's kind of a little bit like, you know, I just didn't like it that they used a gun in it.
I didn't know there was a sequel.
Yeah, there's like 4 of them. Anyway,
I
check
didn't
out
know
the
there was a
original Silent Night, Deadly Night. And number 1 is freaking Gremlins. I gotta pick Gremlins.
Yes.
Of course I'm gonna pick Gremlins. It was either that or Reindeer Games. Either way. But
bravo, sir.
But
Bravo.
Gremlins is where it's at, you know. I mean, just like T said, you know, you have that blend of horror and comedy, but then, you know, you start thinking about like all of the like the lead up, right, with the Mogwai. It's all cute and it's all fuzzy. Even the sheriff is like, oh, these little cute things go into monsters. Yeah, you know. But and then once they become Gremlins, like the fun starts. You know, people do die. Yeah, it sucks, but there was the fun part. The bar scene. The bar scene with the Gremlins. The bar scene with the Gremlins is absolutely iconic. It's one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie. You know, you got breakdancing, you got flash dance, you got, you know, flashers. It's awesome.
And the way the characters, well, the creatures themselves were supposed to be just kind of mischievous, right? So it's like you could imagine, like, hey, if they were all taking over a bar, they would just kind of act out into these.
You know, I never thought about it this way, and they're a lot like the Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Especially when they start getting into more character types or caricatures. Thank you. That word you said. When they start getting into that, then yeah, it definitely becomes more Looney Tunes. It was like now they're not really being like something that's super vicious or savage. It's just more along the lines of them being kind of
mischievous and crazy. But yeah, either way, Gremlins is still number 1. Honorable mentions. Obviously, all the stuff that was on your list that wasn't on mine. All right. Everything I said. My top 5 is his honorable mentions.
Yeah, exactly. So we both didn't say it, and I think because we both thought we were gonna put it on each other's list. So yeah, go ahead and write it in the comments. Nightmare Before Christmas, obviously, because it had horror themes.
Yes, it did.
It had characters that were more darker. I mean,
you look at that too. How Burton, the character designs the character designs themselves are kind of horrific.
Like the ghost dog, which was kind of funny, but like looking at it, it's like, oh, that's kind of creepy. There's a dead dog.
Freaking roadkill over here.
Also, too, I was thinking, I was like, would The Shining be considered Christmas horror? It takes place around that time.
It does, and there's a shitload of snow.
And he would be considered a slasher.
Yes, he would.
Yeah. So.
Let's go, Shining. Is it a Christmas movie? You know what? From this point forward, Shining's a Christmas movie.
We'll tell Art about that one.
With Die Hard.
We can have a Christmas movie marathon.
Yeah.
Die Hard and
Die Hard and The Shining. How about that movie Frozen? Did you ever see that movie Frozen?
Yeah, it's like Let It Go.
No, not that one. The movie, it's a horror film, and they're in a like a ski lodge. So the ski thing, the whatever the hell that thing is.
The ski lift, yeah.
The ski lift.
Yeah.
They're going up, and it stops, and
they're just stuck there.
And they're stuck there. And
yeah, I mean that's really kind of scary. You've seen the videos that people take when they're like looking and like the ground's like so far down. You have to wait till you get to the top of the mountain to get off. It's like you would be stuck there because you can't jump. I mean, you could.
You die.
You die, but yeah, it's like so. Yeah, that would be scary.
Yeah, and so they're stuck there, and like obviously, you know, hypothermia and
Yeah.
and your fingers freezing to the freaking thing and your freaking break off and like it's freaking insane, dude. If you've never seen it, check it out, Frozen.
Thank
That's
you
one of my
for
honorable
making
mentions.
me not want to ever go ski. Thank you. Appreciate that. What are your other honorable mentions?
Okay, Santa Slave Goldberg. All right, right, baby. It's all about Santa slaying Goldberg, jackhammering everybody and spearing everybody.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then I had Nightmare Before Christmas too. And you know what? I'm gonna throw it in there. And it should have been my top 5, but I'm gonna throw it in there anyway. I'm gonna throw Violent Night. That's a great freak. I would consider that horror.
I gotta watch it.
Because
Once I
of the
watch it, I
amount
can
of
see
death that's in that movie, I am definitely picking that as a horror film. Yeah,
There you
Christmas
go.
horror, absolutely. Violent Night, check it out. It's in theaters.
There you go. So
Terrence, take us home.
we'll do a kumite with David Harbour versus Bruce Willis, and who'd win between Die Hard and Violent Night.
Would how about this one? Would David Harbour survive Nakatomi Plaza? Yes, he would. He just turned into dust and beat the shit out of
Oh,
him.
well, there you go. So that automatically wins. And it's like, hey guys, I'm out of here. Anyway, so make sure you, for the fans of Christmas horror films, make sure you put your list in the comments below. I gave you a lot of oddball ones, but tell me in the comments if you've actually seen Ginger Dead Man or Jack Ross. I would love to hear about it and how me and you both love these movies. As well as subscribe and click the notification button so that way you're aware of all the other videos we do on the channel. Lastly, here's our new shirt right here, the new Top 5 shirt. So if you're a big fan of Top 5, please go to the merch link on Amazon, especially with Christmas coming. It will get out to you really, really quickly. So make sure you have it for the holidays.
Fantastic shirt. You guys got to check it out. For Aspen, Art, Carla, and the Geek Father back here, I'm Manny.
I'm Terrence.
And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Maybe
Christmas.
before Christmas this video will come out. Maybe.
New Year's.
New Year's. There we go.
Happy New Year's.
I can guarantee New Year's.
Peace.